and welcome to Two Loving Bugs. This tag is the TTC planner tag. I was tagged by Kassie Moon. Thank you very much, Kassie. I'll leave her link and information to that video down below. So let's just jump right in. There's quite a few questions. Number 1, will you find out the gender? Yeah. How else are you supposed to plan for everything and paint the room and get everything the right color? Because I'm not the biggest fan of gender neutral colors. Number 2, will you use the pacifier? I go back and forth on this one. I probably won't introduce a pacifier for a good while, and ideally it would only be used for like car rides when I can't take care of them right that second. Other than that, I'd like to use breastfeeding as a soothing technique as well, as long as they don't get too attached. Number 3, do you have any nursery ideas? Here and there, I kind of have a couple pins on Pinterest. I don't have it like all planned out though. Depends on boy and girl and really what colors we decide to do. Number 4, are you the first, middle, or last of your friends to TTC or have babies? As far as like people I went to school with that I'm just like Facebook friends with, I'm definitely like feel like I'm dead last. In Utah, if you are 20 and aren't married and don't have babies, you need to go on a mission because you need to find a man. I'm not like that, but yeah, a lot of my friends and classmates that I went to school with got married right out of high school, and most of the people are having like their second or third kids by now. I know several girls that have at least 2 kids already. So dead last as far as that goes, but if you're talking more about who I'm actually hanging out with, who I see on a regular basis, I would say I'm middle first. Really the only people that have little babies is Chris's cousin Holly, who has little baby Elizabeth. Other than that, not a whole lot of people have babies right now. They're all, you know, not babies. 5, will you use hand-me-downs? Yeah. I don't make a ton of money. Chris doesn't make a ton of money. We're gonna use hand-me-downs. I'm totally okay with using someone's clothes that they've already worn. I don't see the problem in that. Number 6, how close do you want your children in age? Ideally, my sister and I, we are 4 years apart, and I feel like even though we're best friends now and we get along just fine, we got along just fine the whole time. It was just so different having a sister so much older, because when she was like graduating high school, I was in 8th grade, you know? So we were just on 2 different levels really, so less than 4 years, but I don't want them back to back because I'm not doing that. But really we'll see what happens. It also depends on our situation and money and all that jazz. Number 7, will you make your own baby food? I will. I don't think I'll do it all the time or like only feed them baby food that I made, but I think it would be fun to do. And I'm definitely going to try to look for the healthier, more organic options for baby food anyways if I buy it. So yeah, I'd be willing to give it a shot. Number 8, will you co-sleep? I think we will, as far as having them in the room and close to us, co-sleeping in the same room. but not necessarily in the bed with us. I would just be terrified to like squish the baby in my sleep or suffocate them or something, you know. I am highly interested in those little bed things that attach to your bed, but it's their own little area. I think they're called co-sleepers, and I'm very interested in those. I think that would be a good compromise. 9. Will you use a stroller, and do you believe in strollers? This seems a little bit a silly question, but I would use a stroller if I had a need for it. I do also plan to baby wear though, you know, where you wrap them all up onto you. I plan on doing both, so yes, I would use a stroller. 10. Will you go back to work after you have the baby, or will you be a stay-at-home mom? Unfortunately, I will most likely have to go back to work. But it also depends on the cost of daycare and how that balances out with the money I make, if it'll actually be worth it to work. But really, I'm pretty sure I will have to go back to work. I would love to be a stay-at-home mom though. Number 11, how long will you let your baby/infant cry? I'm pretty sure this question's referring to like the cry it out method, but I haven't really read much about that. I don't know what it means to do the cry it out method, but when they're little babies, they're not crying just because they want to cry. Like, they need something. So I will always tend to my baby when they're crying. But as far as when they get older and maybe we're trying to let them get used to sleeping in their own room, I think I will, you know, let them cry for a certain amount of time, go tell them it's bedtime, leave, that sort of thing. I don't know if that is technically the cry it out method, but that's not until later, you know, when they're at least a year older, you know. So I guess we will when they're older, but as far as when they're little babies, I'm not gonna just let my baby sit there and cry. Number 12, how often will you bathe your child? I don't know. I don't know what's best or what you're supposed to do. I see a lot of people like give their babies nightly baths and to soothe them before they go off to bed. But I've also heard that that's not very good for their skin, because like we don't bathe every day. So I don't know what we'll do. I like the idea of having a routine bathing like that, but I don't want to do it if it's gonna irritate their skin or anything like that. So we'll figure it out as we go, I suppose. 13, will you extend rear face car seat with your baby? I would prefer to do it that way. I know that they say once they're a year old and at least 20 pounds, I think it is, then it's perfectly safe to switch them to the front facing. But then I also heard that technically your baby should be rear facing until they're 2 years old. So again, I'm not really sure. I would probably do extended rear facing, but it also depends on the baby and how big they are and if they're comfortable rear facing for that long, and if they're soothable while they're facing away, because I know a lot of babies feel a lot better facing the direction they're going. So I don't know, we'll figure it out again as we go. Will you breastfeed? If so, for how long? I definitely want to breastfeed. I understand that people have problems and might not be able to physically, and I know my mom struggled with like the neediness of a baby wanting to breastfeed a lot. Like, she felt like her kids were just like, that's all they wanted from her. They didn't care about her in any other sense. But I definitely believe in breastfeeding as long as I can. I only plan to go up to a year though. I want to do 6 months straight up just breastfeeding and then up to a year, because I think it's silly when people breastfeed for 6 months and then they end up like switching to formula to use as their milk because they're not allowed to have like cow milk until they're a year old. So I just don't see the point in doing that. So as long as I can be able to pump and, you know, take care of it while I'm at work and all that, I plan to go for a full year breastfeeding. Number 15, when will you introduce solids? Not until they're 6 months old. I plan on doing, like I said, the 6 months exclusive breastfeeding. Do you want a boy or girl first? I would love the idea of having a boy first. That's always what I've pictured. I love the idea of big brother, like taking care of little siblings, you know. I just love the idea of a big brother. So ideally that's what it would be. But honestly, after 2.5 years of TTCing, I don't care. I don't care what. As long as they're happy and healthy when they come, that's all I'm concerned about. I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, because little girls are always fun. You can dress them up. But yeah, so it's not a big deal to me. 17. Do you have names picked out? Yes, I do. And I would love to go over every little part of all the names that Chris and I have picked out, but they're gonna be my names. And I don't want anyone I know stealing them. So, lock and key, you know, they're stuck in here. One name that Chris isn't sold on, but I would love for a girl, is Brooklyn Marie. I just think that is so cute, and I love it, but that's not on our approved list of names. 18. How many kids do you want? 3. If we could have it exactly how we want and planned out, it'd be boy first, girl, boy. Perfect 3 little kids, but I mean, I do slightly worry about like a middle child syndrome, you know, all that, but I would love 3 kids. But as time goes on and we're not getting pregnant, I kind of am like, maybe I want 4 actually. And I tease my husband and say, you know, every year that we don't get pregnant, that's another kid we're gonna have to have. But ideally 3 I think would probably be the perfect amount. 19. Will you homeschool? Not likely. I want my kids to be socialized and be able to deal with other children and get along easily like that, but I don't know. If my child wanted to be homeschooled, if they were having problems at school, or if I just felt like our local schools weren't competent enough, then I would definitely be open to the idea of homeschooling. I did go to college for a little while for early education, elementary education, so I mean, that's obviously something I would enjoy doing. So the option will always be open as long as I don't have other work I have to do. Like if I have to maintain a normal 9-to-5 job, then it wouldn't be possible. But I would definitely keep the option open. Number 20, home or hospital birth? When I get pregnant and I have my kids, it'll most likely be a hospital birth. I love the idea of birth at home and like being calm, because I have, you know, white coat anxiety attack. I don't like the hospital. I can't stand going in there, doctor's offices, anything like that. So it'd be nice to be at home and relax, but I don't think I would be relaxed because I'd be like, oh my gosh, what if things go wrong and we have to drive to the hospital? Yeah, so it'll be a hospital birth. I would love it if we had a birthing center in my area, but unfortunately the closest one is over an hour away, so that's out of the question. Number 21, planned C-section, epidural, or natural birth. In a perfect dream world, I would have a water birth at a birthing center. But unfortunately, we don't have a birthing center here, like I said, and my hospital doesn't have birthing tubs like they don't have that available to do at the hospital. So obviously that's on the natural birth path. My only issue is I worry that if I'm not going to be in the water, I'm worried that I won't be able to handle natural birth. But ideally, that's what I would like to do. I'd like to do natural birth. But I'm not completely against the idea of having an epidural, you know? So we'll just see how that goes. As far as C-section, I'd like to avoid at all costs. Please no. Like, no thanks. I do not want a C-section. 22. Will you drink while you're pregnant? What? Like, I'm assuming it's referring to alcohol. Obviously no. I know people who have had like a couple beers or wine or whatever while they're pregnant and they were just fine or whatever, but I just think it's an unnecessary risk, and even if your baby doesn't come out like deformed or, you know, with fetal alcohol syndrome and all that you can tell, it still messes with their brain and like handicaps their brain. So although they'll probably be okay technically, you know, it might make school harder for them in the future, and I just don't see why you would risk that at all. I want my kids to be able to do the best they can and to exceed at life and school. So I just don't see the reason to have alcohol, because I'm not really a drinker anyways. If it's referring to caffeine drinks, which can be, some people say, debatable on whether you should do that or not. I know you should definitely limit your caffeine while pregnant. I'm gonna try to avoid it. I don't really drink caffeine as it is, just occasional green tea or whatever, but I'm not gonna like freak out on myself if I have a cup of tea when I'm pregnant, because I don't think that's that big of a deal, but I definitely won't drink energy drinks or anything like that. 23. Will you cloth diaper? Yeah, I already have cloth diapers bought, so I definitely plan on cloth diapering. Hopefully I can find a routine and everything that works well for me so I can continue to do it clear through potty training, because I know several people who started it but they just end up stopping because it gets too hard for them or whatever. But I definitely plan on cloth diapering. 24. If you have a son, will you circumcise him? My husband and I both went back and forth on this one. Initially we were like, yeah, his dad's circumcised, why not? Like, tons of people get circumcised. I don't know. We didn't know the harms or anything in it. But then as I did more research and was learning more about it, it is kind of crazy that we do that. Like, once you really think about it and don't just think of it as tradition, it's kind of crazy that we do it. Like, why do we cut off a part of their body? Like, I thought God made us in his image and perfect like that, you know? Exactly how he wanted us. So I don't really see why we would cut off their penis. It's not considered any cleaner or better or whatever, so I'm pretty sure we're not going to do that anymore. So that's it. That was the TTC planner tag. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, or if you cloth diapered and have any suggestions for me, go ahead and leave them in the comments section below. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you liked it, and thanks for watching. Bye!